All right, so we're about to kick off our panel remix. We're going to be talking about taking advantage of connected customers and enabling connected commerce. To start with, wanted to let people know 55% of retailers consider optimizing CX a priority. The customer wants the journey to be fast, efficient, and personalized. With retailers catering to customers' shopping habits across devices and preferences, we're seeing companies become loyal to customers versus customers becoming loyal to companies. And I'm happy to have the esteemed panelists introduce themselves. And why don't we start ladies first?
Hi, my name is Ashley Wahl. I am with IKEA. I am currently overseeing their e-commerce and digital experience in the US. And today I'm going to share a little bit about some of my philosophies on connected commerce and some examples that our brand has done to help enrich the customer experience.
Hi, my name is Alison Stiefel. I'm in charge of marketing and our global businesses at ShopStyle. We have two businesses. One is our ShopStyle.com consumer platform, where we're a discovery and search fashion platform, and then also our influencer network of over 20,000 influencers that we power the technology that supports them driving discovery into conversion for retailers.
Peyman Zamani, CEO of Logic Broker. We provide a dropship automation and supply chain data management platform for retail and brands. I'm excited to be here to talk about connected commerce.
Great. So it's a great place to start. And maybe we'll start with, why don't we start with Alison? I think, in a lot of these conversations, we throw out terms like AI, we throw out terms like CRM, all these terms, and people hear them all the time, but everyone has a different definition. So why don't we start talking about what connected commerce is? And I'd like a couple perspectives on what that even is to you and what it is to your organization.
Sure. For ShopStyle, connected commerce is about being everywhere that the customer is at any point in time. What this means is when someone is at a restaurant having dinner with a friend and sees someone wearing a beautiful red polka dot dress, having them have the ability to search for something and find what they want. Or they meet another friend who introduces them into an influencer that they decide to follow and start reading a blog, and then have the ability not just to read it, but actually have it be able to save and to come back and to find where that item is or items like that. So I think that for us it's about being everywhere and anywhere for the customer, as well as having to be personalized. I think this, not only the shoppers today, but the up and coming shoppers, like you said, aren't as loyal, and they're looking for so much more. That it's technology, it's personalization, and I think we also believe it's a little bit of a human touch. I think that there's still that relationship that needs to be happening within the personalization and the connectivity across any platform or place.
Ashley or Peyman, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think from my perspective, when I talk about connected commerce, it's really about leveraging both data and technology to be able to enable engagement across different channels. And we know that customers are currently flowing seamlessly between physical space and online space. So how can we take that information and really create relevant experiences that meet their needs, both at the individual level, but also at the mass level, to really help develop solutions for them and move them through their journey.
Does anyone see, so I've also heard another term that a lot of people are throwing out there is converged commerce. And I think that's really the notion of, I want a single interface, whether it's in a store, online, customer service, it's always the exact, are those the same thing, converged commerce and connected commerce, or how are they related?
I think, Alison and Ashley, well put together. Connected commerce is actually the theme of our annual summit at Logic Broker, because that's what we believe, because at the heart of the commerce is the consumer. They are more connected than you or us or average companies, because they have all the information at the fingertips. Not only information comes from you, but from your competitors, from partners. So how do you manage that and turn it and converge it into a transaction? So these are all acronyms we throw out there, and we love, as a technology company, throwing acronym out there. But ultimately, it's visibility to what's going on with your customer, what product they're looking, what product they're not looking, where are they going, are they buying? So they had that mobile experience or looking at that outfit, but there is no inventory. But maybe when they go home, Alexa tells them, hey, by the way, we just got
Yep.
that outfit in so-and-so store, do you want to go there? So creating that kind of engagement, it is definitely, this is not next 5 years, this is 6 months, 9 months, it's happening.
So it's broader than just Alexa, and it's broader than those in-home devices.
Absolutely.
It's just how do you connect with the customer wherever he or she is. Ashley, from an IKEA perspective, or even from your own personal perspective, what technologies do you see in the marketplace that interest you? What technologies is IKEA looking at as it relates to connected commerce?
So we are, well, I guess first I'll say, when we look at what type of technology we need to start leveraging, I think that there's a couple steps that have to happen first. So for me, it's really about identifying the barriers for the customer to find and buy the products. What are the relevant data points that are needed to help either inform that and the solution, and then really identifying what the technology is that can help solve that. So one example that we're currently using is machine learning with our internal site search. We found from a series of channels and feedback mechanisms that customers were having a hard time with finding and purchasing our products. And so we had started to dig a little deeper, and that audience, the internal site search audience, actually had a significantly lower conversion rate than industry average, but also than our general website. So that's where we had started to dig a little bit to identify what type of technologies can we help use. And we landed on machine learning, where we were able to increase the relevance of the products that they were searching for earlier in the funnel. So there's a visual merchandising element to it, but also to tailor it to the individuals based on their individual browsing and purchase behavior, so that what they're seeing and what we're showcasing is a little bit more relevant and more personalized. And that in itself helped increase our conversion rate by that audience by almost 15%, by just being more relevant and where they are looking for that information from.
So we heard in the earlier session, there was a lot of discussion about SMS and AI and machine learning. Is there a world in which I'm going to say, Alexa, send me an IKEA bedroom set?
Ideally. And you bring up a really interesting topic, because conversational, and the home technology with Alexa and Google Home, that is starting to become a bigger landscape. And we see, I think it's around 40% of searches today are done through voice. So, and that's only going to continue to grow. So it's really important that, especially if you're looking at your SEO optimization and just the content that you're creating on your site, that it's optimized for that conversational tone, and to be able to tap into some of those technologies and get ahead of some of those trends to be where the customers are looking and be more convenient for them.
So Alison, similar question, but before you get into your answer, maybe talk a little bit about the shop style business model so people understand what perspective you're coming from. So connected commerce, and what does it mean to shop style?
Yeah, so I said earlier we have two businesses. Our consumer platform is a discovery engine where you can see influencer looks, you can save an influencer, you can save a trend, and we'll help you store that information in a personalized experience for any influencer globally. We also allow you to search products and brands, and again, save the product or the brand. So really our consumer platform is having the shopper actually create their personalized experience, and then using our powerful search engine to power the recommendations and our algorithm, as well as our second business, the influencer business, where we have influencers creating 200 outfit looks a week, and all of those looks are being populated over, but then they're also being populated across a blog or Instagram or YouTube, and having the shopper be able to actually purchase from those social platforms or blog. I think a specific example of how we help influencers, we really kind of power the technology behind them. So if there is an influencer living in yellow and she is talking about this amazing outfit that she just had Typically a blog is at that point in time, and then it's the next post that happens. But what we're doing is we're actually enabling the influencer to put products there that then people can actually save from a blog and be reminded, get new releases from that type of brand, or get a sale alert. And then in addition, as we know, sometimes when influencers post about something, it is completely sold out quickly. So actually we help backfill and populate based on recommendations of our search engine. So two businesses that really make us unique because they help each other in making our search platform help our influencers, and our technology and our influencer content help the discovery on the consumer platform.
So the common theme I hear is the connected commerce experience is really just how do we connect the customer to what he or she is looking for in whatever medium it is.
Right.
So Peyman, you're more on how do we get the product to the customer and how do we expand the assortment. So a question from the logic broker side, thinking about customer expectations and what these two are trying to do to connect the customer, how does the fulfillment side and what Logic Broker does, how does that fit into this new connected customer regime?
Absolutely, and just to add to what exactly Alison was saying, I think there's another buzzword coming, influential commerce.
Yeah, there you go. I'm going to start that one.
There you go. Let's tweet about
That panel at 6 p.m. tonight.
Yes, okay. At the bar. So we see that the heart of it, because for that person, the influencer say, hey, I like this great outfit, I just purchased it, and boom, you're gonna sell out. You don't want to sell out, so it's very important to make sure you have inventory of it, whether it's in your own warehouse, 3PL, or aggregate through dropshipper. And that's what the core business of Logic Broker is, to bring in product inventory from everywhere and aggregate it and make it available to retailer, to buyers, so they can buy it at the snap of their finger, and they could buy it through website, mobile, through other retail outlet. So it doesn't really matter, like you were saying, where they're buying it. It matters that that product is available real time and is going to be delivered to you within hours, not weeks.
So kind of continuing on the theme, we touched a little bit on the in-home devices, and I think the audience would be interested to specifically understand, and maybe we'll start with Ashley, how do in-home devices play directly into your marketing strategy, directly into your customer engagement strategy?
Yep. So I actually can approach this question from a little bit of a different perspective, because we, selling furniture and furnishings, we actually develop a lot of products that need to be compatible with Alexa and those type of products. And so for us, it's really a critical component of our business, and being forward thinking and getting ahead of those trends is obviously an important component. When we look at the marketing and particularly the communication, what becomes increasingly important for this particular industry is giving customers the benefits of what the products do, the functionalities, and also the value proposition, and helping them understand how these type of products can help improve their lives, whether it's by saving time or money. So a lot of what we do with some of those areas of the business are really tap into our owned assets to showcase the functionality on the website, whether it's through small video snippets that showcase the functionality. We tend to zoom in on some of the the brand, the swatches of the product, so that you can get a better idea of the look and feel. We also partner very heavily with our expansion team to be able to look at, and sharing information and data with them, so that we can help to really bring this information to customers who are in the market for it and really understand the value that it brings to them.
So, Alison, similarly, right, different business model. Specific to that connected device, specific to what I believe is listening to me all day long and sending me emails about a cruise because I spoke about a cruise. How does that play into ShopStyle's business?
Yeah, it's interesting. We, technology is extremely important, and as things evolve from social to voice, but we still also believe that there has to be that human touch. And so I think really our approach of being in the home is through people, and that being this influencer community. And being an influencer, it could be blogger, it could be a designer, it could be a beauty specialist, it could be Nordstrom's sales associates. All of these people have the ability to connect through technology to their audience in someone's home. So I think that we think about it as a mix of both technology and that human touch that really reaches them within their home by whatever device they might be. And I think that there's a big opportunity not only from voice, but also for retailers to leverage their amazing network of sales associates and experts. There's tons of training that goes on, and they are big advocates for the brand. Sephora has beauty experts. Those people are consistently talking about product and stuff, so really leveraging and empowering them to take that content to convert it. And so I think our focus has been a little bit more on those platforms that really allow you to convert through that human touch of a unique individual that might look or feel like you or have your style.
That's interesting. So at the end of the day, I think what everyone's trying to do is replicate those store associates, right? How do I make the experience that is in stores like IKEA and Nordstrom and a lot of these stores? If you get someone in store to talk to a store associate, they're closing the deal, right? They're really good. Yeah. So I was as you were talking, I'm like, what's next? What happens after the connected device or the influencer economy? Like, what's the next thing? And is there a way to leverage that like latent talent that's in the store to help convert people online? Like, any thoughts on that?
I think, if I may add, you put it perfectly that the sales associate, once you get in front of sales associate, they can close the deal. So it's not like you're going to replace all the sales associates with your home devices. And my advice is don't go back and tell your IT team we got to be Alexa capable. But that's just one component of connected commerce. So essentially, you need to make sure your sales associate or the influencer or your home device, Alexa or Google Home, have access to that data, whatever that data is, whether it's a curated content, pricing, inventory, where is it shipping from, am I going to get it tomorrow? All this information, you need to make sure whoever is the influencer, whether it's a machine learning system or it is an actual salesperson sitting there, they are more informed than your connected consumer, because your consumer is connected, so you need to be a step ahead of them.
Yeah. Is there a backlash coming around data privacy, right? We joke about we know it's listening, but we still talk to it and we still, put searches into Google. Like, is there a wave of a backlash around data privacy coming, or more generally, how are you addressing all the data privacy concerns that are popping up around connecting to the customer? Open to anyone who wants to jump in.
I can start. I think the e-commerce industry is, as far as content that you need to influence your customer, is less relevant. Like, I, as a consumer, I would love somebody tell me how to get dressed up, so I don't have to stare at my closet for half an hour in the morning. So say, hey, you like this, you should try this. So the more, the merrier.
Influencer content.
Beautiful. I got to follow. We'll talk later. So I think at that part, follow me, tell me, how many times you go to a store and walk out empty-handed. Imagine if those retail stores, they knew that me as an online shopper went to your store and didn't buy anything and look at 10 things. What great information is if you had capability to look at that. And you don't have to build some multi-billion-dollar system. You can just have some scanner, just reward them. Hey, when you come in, just identify yourself. Here's a 10% coupon and track them.
Yeah. So that goes back to a little bit what we talked about is what value we're providing back. I still wonder, just the way things are going, if people are going to, ultimately turn things off and find ways to switch off the tracking. Any perspective on that?
I think too, from what I've found, customers are willing to share information and data with you so long as they feel that they're getting something back in return that's of value. And then on top of that, I think it also depends on your audience. So some of the younger generations, they're much more comfortable with that type of technology and what it means. Whereas I think maybe some of the older generations, there's some more hesitation there. But again, if it comes back to showcasing what the value is for that transaction and receiving the customer's information and then what they'll receive and being able to be a little bit more personalized and more relevant, I think that helps offset some of the comfort level there.
It's a good point. We when we launched our feed, that was all about having the shopper be able to save a product or a brand or a trend or an influencer, and all of these data points the customer is providing us, and we are populating these feeds, and we're seeing actually that the people who are engaging with that are 17% more likely to come back, and they're driving 14% more revenue than someone who isn't engaging. And they're consistently making more and more, so they're actually continuing to give us different favoriting and reasons and why to make their experience relevant. And that is, not necessarily us going and following them. Instead, it's them actually providing that information and then us using that on the back end.
You talk about the data capture and how many more channels we can all capture data. What's the reality and how much of that data is used and productive for marketing tactics and those types of things, right? I can talk to Alexa all day long, but now you have all this unstructured content. You have all this structured data. You have probably tons of vendors outside that want to help you figure out how to put it together, but what's really usable? Like, how much can you actually use all that information and that you've collected?
I mean, from my perspective, I think it comes down to what you're trying to achieve and then identifying what are some of the most relevant metrics or KPIs or data points to help with the solutioning for that. I'm a huge advocate because of the amount of data that exists that, for each initiative, and it will vary by initiative. It's not going to be a one-size-fits-all by any means, but to really look at all of the different data points that you have available and come up with almost a recipe. So a lot of brands have loyalty programs, with good demographic data. That's, super critical information. You have your behavioral and your engagement data from, the web and the store if you're using beacons or anything like that. And then obviously your transactional data. So how can you kind of marry up the different data points and then come up with, solutions that really make sense?
Yeah, at ShopStyle, there is a lot of data, and I think that just in the world, and I think the way that we're looking at it is we actually start with our influencer community. So our influencer community we're very transparent, and we empower and share the data with them. So they're consistently looking at what content is actually engaging with their audience, or what product or brand or retailer, and influencers are starting kind of the trends in fashion and home. And so leveraging that data to then kind of populate how we talk to the other type of shopper that isn't always the first to market on trends, but a little bit later on our consumer side. So then leveraging the consumer side of what that person is searching, and just connecting kind of what the consumer is saying, what the influencer is saying, and kind of aggregating more on the what is most relevant, what are customers most looking for from a product, retailer, brand, or trend side is how we're using the data. I think Ashley's right. It's like, what is your goal? What's your goal? This is the KPI, and how do you focus on those one pieces? And each goal may have different KPIs and different uses of the data.
I've worked with organizations that have effectively been charged with collecting data for the sake of collecting data. Right? And they're like, let's build this big monolithic piece of information.
Yeah.
No one has necessarily decided how to use it.
And have beautiful graphs, and they look impressive.
But to what end?
Right. What enablement you're looking for? Data is like technology. So first you got to figure out what you're trying to enable, what you're trying to trigger, and then go look for that data that helps you do that, not the other way around.
Yep.
I think that a lot of startups too are about testing stuff first, and I think that is kind of one of our core values is test it and see what happens versus analyze the data for 6 months. I mean, yeah. I joke that sometimes I walk down the hallway and we'll say something, and then the engineering team has launched it 3 hours later. I'm like, whoa, that was just an idea. But let's see what happens. And so I think a lot of it is
just made everyone jealous, by the way.
I know.
So that's it. So I think, Ashley, you touched on beacons, and just would love, and maybe Peyman, we'll start with you. So thinking about other pieces of technology that are new and interesting that are connecting the customer, whether it be beacons or IoT or whatever the next wave is. How do you see those entering the market and kind of changing how we connect to customers?
I think most of these technology that want to be enabled in connected commerce and capable to whether it's analytics or home devices, make sure it has some kind of open interface. So it's all API based, so it's some interface so you can easily plug it into. So whatever technology you take on, make sure it has some kind of open interface, especially with analytics. We have a BI system in our platform that only tracks supply chain information, but there are other information that our customer want to plug into, so they can plug it into without it's limitless. So it's that openness, whatever technology, make sure it's not closed-ended, whether it's API or IoT or some kind of interface that you can easily plug into your ecosystem.
Test and learn.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let me throw out AR and VR, right? Especially in the furniture space. What role is that playing?
Yeah. A big one. So that's something that actually part of our global organization, they've developed a mobile app that allows customers to be able to leverage augmented reality. And that is becoming increasingly important in a time where convenience is kind of king, and when we're looking at customers wanting to do more from the privacy of their own home and not having to go. But what it does for me is it helps to bridge the online and offline experience. So at IKEA, we have these amazing showrooms in the physical stores, and customers love going there for that experience. So how can we leverage technology to then bring that experience closer to them in ways that are a little bit more relevant to them? So that's a really good example of allowing somebody to actually see our products in their own personal space without having to actually leave their house. So that's definitely good. And I think that we'll see that that continues to grow and expand as the market continues to become more comfortable purchasing furniture and furnishings from remote locations. So that's going to be a big part of what we're going to look at.
Alison, do you see that crossing over into apparel in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the customer is continuing to evolve and change, and the younger generation is more experiential and looking for different needs than, some of us have in the past. And so I think that we're going to consistently try to figure out what are the right technologies, how can we be quicker, how can we allow them to figure out exactly what they want in whatever place. I don't know exactly how that is right now, but we're consistently thinking about the future and what the customer's expectations are and needs, and they have changed very quickly, and I think will continue to change quickly. It's interesting. I have an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, and it was Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, just from a social platform, and now it's like TikTok, and they don't even watch TV, they watch TikTok. And like, it's just amazing how fast technology and different apps and different things are allowing them, or they're talking to Alexa all day long, And so I think that they
don't know how to type. I know that. My kids have no idea.
Yeah, everything's touch. I'm like, don't touch that. You're getting your fingerprints on it. But I think that we have to consistently challenge ourselves as retailers, as technology, and whether it's home or fashion, to keep up and be first to try new things and find ways for them to have experiences and want to shop and convert.
Yeah, I mean, my kids would rather say the same thing 10 times into the phone and have it be translated wrong than actually type it down.
Totally.
So we will now gather in small groups, however you can do that, and quickly discuss the challenge question. So amongst your peers, what we'd like the group to do is discuss what you've seen as a good connected commerce experience using one of these technologies, whether it's AR, IoT, in-home devices, and what might be a bad one. And then a member of the eTail team will call on a few audience members to get answers. And that member is right back there. That's Kristen.
Yep.
So take 2 minutes. If you have a really good or bad connected commerce experience, throw your hand up and be heard.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Brendan. I have a retail problem. The not so good experience that I had was I was in a bookstore to buy a book. I know if you guys remember bookstores. And I was buying a book, and the price was $30, I think. And I'm standing in line, and I thought, well, I should check online to see what the price is. Now, I wasn't checking another retailer. I was checking that retailer's price. And it was $10 less. So I got up to the counter, and I said, oh, you matched the price. They're like, no, we won't match that price. And I was like, it's your own company. Like, no, we won't, because we run it. And I started telling them what I do for a living. I'm an analyst at Forrester Research. And I tell them what I do, and they're like, well, we run our company like separate divisions, like different P&Ls, and so I can't give you the discount because I'm not authorized to do that. And so I was like, oh, and this is why everyone goes to a certain company to buy books now. So, okay, there you go.
Rough. Anyone else? We have one bad, one good. One good one, I mean, it's pretty simple, but OpenTable, when you make a reservation on the app, or on site, and this is a Google thing, I guess, but it's automatically added to your Google Calendar. So you get a notification that you have a reservation at 7 p.m. And not only that, if you need to know how to get there, it opens up Google Maps and it knows you have a reservation at 7 p.m. and how long it will take to get there. So you're not late. Great experience. The bad experience was a beauty retailer who has separate POS systems for each one of their stores and online. And so I bought something online and then went to return it in store, but they had to complete two different transactions. It was annoying because I had to wait to get my money back from the online transaction. I had to make a totally new one in store. So.
I think it's your open table example. That good experience is setting the bar for everything else. And so it's like those are the things that we all have to be striding for to earn your loyalty and trust.
I mean, same. So I called an airline a couple months ago, and there was a 10-minute wait. Punch in your number, we'll call you back. I was like, oh my gosh, that's the best thing. Like, that should be the standard. Why would I wait online?
Yeah.
How good would it be to get a text about your shipment that you place online and it adds it to your calendar that UPS is delivering this afternoon?
I'll take that.
That would be great.